You wouldn't have done it.
All right, Track Shot Chat. What's going on? Jeff Fatty Clark here. We have big news for 2025. First off, I'd like to introduce Brandon HAULER with Fair Demolition Derbies. Brandon, how we doing today, buddy?
Good. How you doing?
Not bad, man. Not bad. I'm pretty excited about this new event you got going on. Well, not a new event, just a different time this year. Let's talk about it. Well, let's talk about you. Let's introduce yourself real quick.
I'm Brandon HAULER. I'm part of Fair Derby. I'm one of the parts. There's numerous people in the group that run it. Fair Derby's been running fair shows in this area for a long time. I don't know the exact year. It was originally started by Tom Maley and Rich Merritt. Rich Merritt's still doing it. Tom passed away a couple years, and Rich is still doing it with us. And then basically Billy Merritt, Bill, he started doing it. I can't remember the exact year. And then he talked me into coming on with him about 5 or 6 years ago, and we've been doing it and just sort of getting bigger as we've been going on and starting to have a few big shows, trying to do a big show every year at least. So.
Oh, no. And if everybody knows, I run your shows. I love them. I love the group of guys you got together. Rich, I'm sorry to tell you this, but Rich is probably my favorite. Okay. So,
hey, Rich is everyone's favorite.
Yeah, no, but if everybody don't know, Brandon puts on a team show here in Ohio, and it's great. I've ran it every year, I think, but once. Great event. You moved it this year. Next year, it's going to be Memorial Day weekend.
Yep.
And I love that. I love it. It gives the drivers a little more time. You can run a couple more events. You've moved it from the facility, so it will be an outdoor show this year. I love Norwalk. I absolutely love the track. It's a demolition derby track. I was actually talking to a guy the other day about it. I said, I've watched it rain 2 inches before the show, and you could still move at that track. It's perfect.
Yeah, Rich. I mean, Rich has been the person that, he built the Summit track and did awesome there, and he builds the Huron County Fair track every year. And like you said, I mean, for some odd reason, the Huron County Fair, almost every year it rains, and it usually rains buckets, and that track always holds up. But he's the reason that most of our tracks hold up. He has a part in building most of our tracks everywhere we go. So.
Well, I'll tell you what, we ran on that track last year, and I didn't run the year before, but man, I'll tell you what, that indoor track he's got, I'd put it up against just about anybody in the country.
Yeah. It was hard it was a big pill for us to swallow to move locations with it, but with just the show getting bigger and the venue, we couldn't make it bigger. It was just putting us in a tight spot to where you can only pack so many people in there. And if we're getting it bigger and bigger and we can't get people in the door, that's not fair to the Derby drivers that got families and them wanting to come and watch. And it's just not fair to the whole community that wants to come watch it if they got to try to cram in there.
No, I agree with you 100%. That Derby was fun to run, pull into the building and stuff. But like you said, the seating, you're growing. So you had to do something.
Yep.
But I don't think that's going to affect that show at all, because, I mean, the drivers that you get are just crazy anyways. I don't care if you put them out in the middle of a pond. They're going to hit hard. So.
Yeah. Yep.
But okay, so this is Maple City Madness, Memorial Day weekend 2025 in Norwalk, Ohio.
Yep.
Okay, so your three main events, you're going to run a no protector class, 3-man no protector class team event, 3-man V8 stock, and a 3-man compact midsize class, right?
Yep. And then we did both the no protector. We did the no protector and the compact midsize last year as our main event at the Summit. This year we've added the V8 stock class as a team show. There's been a lot of drivers that have been wanting it, so.
Well, I'll tell you what, the V8 stock guys, they're insane, especially now. Like, I watched a little bit of it last year at your show, and it was no slouch. It was just as good as the team event. I mean, from the word go, they were on it. So,
yep.
So it does make sense to make that a 3-man team. I love that ideal. I love that. But let's get back to the no protector class. Now, what's the rules on that, Brandon? Are you allowed like a full cradle, full tranny brace? Well, what's the deal with that?
No, you're allowed to front cradle, no full cradles. You're allowed a front cradle, no training brace. We do we start allowing the front down bars to help guys that were snapping transmissions, and that seems to help a lot. But we try to keep it minimal on the bracing. That way everybody's not trying to pressure everything and do all that stuff that, you know what I mean, in the full builds they try to do.
Right. No, I agree I love that class. I love the rules for that class. It's a quick, simple build. And now that you added the down legs, you can hit with these cars. I mean, you're going to have to fix them and stuff, but them down legs actually change the game on your rules, I believe, because they're not kickers.
Yeah.
But if you place them right and you do some things, it helps tremendously.
Yeah, I agree.
Now with the backs and stuff, is it full weld? Are you allowed 5 on, 5 off? You allowed to squeeze them real hard? How's the back work?
The trunks are 5 on, 5 off. We have let you squeeze in the past, but this year we I believe it says in the rules that you, like, instead of completely squeezing it over the top of the frame, you have to keep it 3 inches away from the side of the frame rail. That way, I mean, we're all derby drivers and we all know what people are trying to do. Just helps us make sure that everybody's getting a fair inspection, because if you're squeezing and moving that much metal, people are trying to weld in there and seam weld in there and do all that stuff. We're just hoping that that'll help restrict some of that and make it easier for us to find the things that people are trying to do.
Yeah, I love that, because now you're going to bring back the art of making them roll. Because, with everything on top of the frame and stuff, it's like watching 2 ball peen hammers hit until they start dropping to the ground. I love it that you changed that rule, not as just a driver, but as a spectator too. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, now what's the payout for the No Protector team 3-man team show?
The payout this year, first place is $12,000 for the team. Second place is $4,500 for the team, and then third place is $1,500 for the team.
Pretty solid payout right there.
Yeah, we upped it. I think it was $10,000 last year, or $9,000, $9 or $10,000 last year. So every year we've been trying to up it, So
right. Well, that comes with the growth. The more you grow, the more you can pay to the drivers. I understand that. No, that's a great class. That's the class that I like to build for. Like I said, you could build a great car in a month if you work on it on the weekends and stuff. I love that class. And then the rule changes you have, I agree with them 100%. Now the 3-man V8 stock class, is that 80s and newer, or is that any year? What's the restrictions on that?
For that, it's any year, but you have to have at least one 80s and newer car for the team show.
On your team,
but
okay.
But it's no Imperials or subframe Imperials or wagons. So we do restrict from that, but it's basically, you know what I mean? We're not going to let them have the Imperials or subframes or the wagons in that class, but they can have a lot of the other, like last year, there were some good ones with some Chryslers that did good in that class. Some of the older Chryslers.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. I like that class. Now what kind of protectors and stuff, what separates that from like the no protector class?
That, like, the engine has to be make to make. Like, we let guys change the motor like Ford to Ford, but it can't be like rebuilt motors, aftermarket motors, none of that stuff. It's your bone stock class. Like, it's for, we do let you weld the A-arms down. And that's welding the A-arms down is, I think, most of the welding you get to do on the frame. Like, you got to have factory stock rear end, no aftermarket rear ends, none of that stuff.
No kidding.
It's pretty stock.
I like that class. And I'll tell you what, for being stock when it was just a one and done, it was crazy. I mean, like, they were getting after.
They hit, man. They do.
I like that class, and I like that you can run any year. And I like that you took the wagons out of it too, because a wagon in a stock class is the ideal car. I mean, you got to have a bunch to be a stock wagon in a stock class. So no, I agree with them rules too. I like that. What's the payout for that?
The payout for that this year is $6,000 for first, $2,000 for second, and $1,000 for first. So it'd break down to be about $2,000 a guy if they win it.
So. Oh, I like that. That sounds like a 2-week build to me. Now, can you like tilt a Ford or anything, or?
Oh, no, there's no tilting, none of that stuff. Like, even if you do run the leaf spring cars, factory leafs, all of that stuff, all your suspension, all that stuff is stock. Can't do anything with, no tilting, no cold bending, none of that stuff. No replacing the body mounts. If you do,
Okay.
like, say you do buy a car that has a rusted out body mount, we let you number 9 wire it, stuff like
okay.
that. But it's pretty stock. You get a stock cage you do get a gas tank protector, but it's got to be 5 inches away from all sheet metal. That way you can't use that for anything.
So if I would run a Ford, I'd have to run a Ford engine?
Yeah. Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Now that's interesting. I like that.
Yep. Yep. Ford to Ford and GM to GM and Chrysler to Chrysler.
So if I would run like a Ford engine, can I simplify the harness and stuff like that for that class, or how's that work?
Yep, you are a simplified harness and stuff like that, but I know there are a lot of guys that are out there starting to build the Ford engines. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So we're sort of in a gray area there. We haven't had anybody doing any of the crazy stuff like, bringing the aftermarket Ford engines, I guess you would say by now, but I'm sure we're going to have to venture that. But we have had guys try to bring like built GM engines and they haven't got to run. Because, I mean, you can tell a lot of times if a guy's got a built engine compared to a bone stock engine, there's a big difference, So.
Absolutely.
You're not even allowed aluminum intakes. Like on a GM engine, you're not even allowed aluminum intakes.
See, I like that. That's 20 years ago. It's a level playing field. Yeah, that's going to be an interesting class to watch right there.
Yeah. A lot of the good drivers, a lot of the old school drivers will be good at that, I think.
Yeah, because you're gonna have to drive backwards, forward, sideways, every which way, but just forward. So,
you're gonna have to use the car completely to win that.
Yeah, that's pretty wild right there. I like that class. Okay, and so now we got that. Them are the 2 big car classes, and now you have a compact midsize class 3-man team show too. Now, when you say midsize, what's the wheelbase on that, Brandon? What's the biggest car you can run?
The wheelbase is 112.5 inches. So
I don't know.
We did that. I mean, most of your mini cars will get in that. I mean, it's just like your Camrys, your Luminas, like a lot of the stuff guys like running, those will all fit into that criteria. So.
Right. And there's no restrictions on front or wheel drive cars. You can run a wheel drive car there in that class?
Yeah. Yes, you can. Yep.
Really?
Yes, you can.
Cool.
Yep.
Yeah, and now with that, with it being a team show, are you giving them all the crazy protectors where their engine plate sits up next to the cradle and none of them bend, or what's the rules for that?
No, it's pretty stock. Like you get like no cradles. You're not allowed cradles, distributor protectors, your carb halos, none of that stuff. I mean, it's pretty stock. You get. My son ran in it last year, and I think we built his car in 2 weeks. But I mean, you can change the bumpers out. You get like a 4-inch bumper plate. You can do a full cage, obviously. I think the cage has to be 5 inches. Pretty sure the cage still has to be 5 inches away. Or no, maybe I am wrong on that. That can be tight. The gas tank protector can be tight. Yep.
Right.
You can weld the front suspension down. You can have like built front struts. You are allowed those. We went to that a couple years ago. It's a fairly stock build. I mean, most of the cars last year after the team show were pretty wasted. No rear window bar. That's a big rule.
Like when them guys sign up, do you hand them like crazy pills or something? Because them guys are just nuts out there.
Yeah, I don't know. We're lucky because the drivers that always come to support us, they always put on a show. I mean, they're every driver in every class, they hit, man. We don't usually have to yell at too many people. They usually are out there just letting it rip no matter what.
Yeah, and I go to a lot of derbies all over the country. I've seen a lot of team shows, and not just because I ran that team show, because I got my butt kicked by Mad Mike in about 6 minutes. So it was one of the hardest hitting shows that I seen this year. I mean, it was insane. Just the way the no protector heats were insane. There was 10 of them, and they were all off the chain, every one of them.
Yeah.
Yep. But so what's the payout for that class, Brandon?
The payout for that is the same as the V8 stock. It's $6,000, $2,000, and $1,000. And then all those will obviously have big trophies, you know what I mean? Like 6-foot trophies for the winners and stuff like that. And they'll have all that stuff too. But yeah, that's 6, 2, and 1 again. So it's pretty good payout for compact class.
Yeah, and that's just the main classes that we're talking about here, folks. That's just the team events. You also have some one and dones too that I'd like to talk about.
Yep.
The one and done classes. I mean, you got a mini truck and minivan heat, and is that pretty much like a stock class, Brandon? Like you have a simple cage and maybe some tires and weld the bumper on.
Yeah, it's a lot like we try to make a lot of our rules close. I believe the mini truck is a lot like the light weld compact. It's
okay.
You know, you can do a bumper swap and stuff like that, but it's a fairly stock build. But those guys are, I've always wanted to run a minivan, but every time I watch them, I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Those dudes are crazy in minivans. They fly.
Dude, I've been running from them all across the country. I've had people give them to me, and I'm like, I'll just let Robbie run it. You know, I'm good on that thing.
Yeah, I mean, they're crazy.
Well, there's just no way to slow them down. I mean, they'll run 100 mile an hour in 4 foot of mud. But no, that's always a fun class. I like watching the trucks out there trying to get them. And then, you know, everybody loves a soccer mom van driving through a Dodge Dakota.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so, and then you guys got a front wheel drive windshield class also. Now, is that like a street stock build, Brandon, where you can't change the bumpers, or can you move some stuff around, or how's that?
Yeah, that's like a street stock. I mean, you can do your very minimal. Like we let them put they can't have an aftermarket bumper on, but they can have like the stock bumper. If their stock bumper was junk, they can put like a Mazda 3. I think a lot of people they can use those style bumper. It's got to be that style bumper that came on them stock. You know, and they get their minimal cage like normal. Cages, most of our cage rules are pretty close to the same until you get to like the no protector class. Like we're not going to skimp on the safety of the drivers. You know what I mean? Every class you can have a good cage. We're not crazy about the cages being too built unless you start using it to help your car, you know, to that advantage. So.
No, I understand that, especially with some of the injuries this year that's come through derbies and stuff. We're no spring chickens anymore, man. We got to think about safety a little bit. Now with that class, can you like run a header and stuff in that, Brandon, or no?
Yeah. Yep. You can run a header. Yep.
Good. Because I don't know what it is about those mini car guys. If you can't run a header, they lose their mind. Yeah,
some of them do get pretty mad. I think we had that when we first tried to reset our rules. I think 5-6 years ago, we took away the headers, and they were pissed. There were a lot of people that were mad about that, and the next year we gave them the headers back. Yeah, they did not like it.
Well, I think if they have a header, they can only rev it up 2 times in the inspection line. That's it. No more than that, because they drive me crazy revving them daggone things up in the inspection line. Now you got a youth compact class too. Now is that more like the front wheel drive windshield, or is that more like your 3-man compact midsize rules, Brandon?
We did it like the 3-man compact, the light weld. A couple years ago, it was the compact class, and then we did it the windshield, and we had a lot of parents that came to us and was like, man, the windshield's great for the kids, but we have to build them a car every time they run. Because I mean, I've watched a lot of youth kids, and they don't really realize, you know what I mean? They go at it. They're not afraid to mess anything up. So we let them go with the light weld. That way the cars will hold up a little longer. You know, you put all the kids in windshield, and every car's junk at the end of the night. And then the parents got to build them another car before the next show. So.
Yep. Nope. I get that. And you know, I wouldn't want to ride in just a windshield car with a kid, because I'm sure now, do they have to have a passenger with them, or can they, if they feel comfortable enough, can they run by themselves?
We have let some kids, as they get up to 15, you know, or right before they're 16, we've let them run without anybody, as long as their parents are comfortable with it. And most of the time we've let that happen. It's been, you know, we've had some kids that have ran our youth shows for 5 years in a row.
Right.
So we know that they're a pretty good driver, and they know what they're doing. I mean, I know when I rode with my son, and half the people that rode with him, they're like, dude, he doesn't even listen anyways. He just does his own thing. So, you know, at that point, it's not even worth you being in there. You're almost in danger for no reason, you know? So.
Yes, sir. Yeah. I've rode with a couple kids. I don't even know why I was out there. No clue. But no, that youth class is always fun. I like it that you guys did a compact. It kind of levels the playing field a little more, you know, than with the V8s and stuff. Because I mean, compared, you know, you get an $8,000 engine compared to a $3,000 engine. That's going to win the Derby. But with a Camry or whatever, they're pretty much all the same. So I like that. I like it that it's a front wheel drive youth class. I do. And then, you know, you give them a little bit too, so they're going to think they got a machine. You know, they're going to hit with it. So. And then you guys have trucks too. Now with your trucks, Brandon, is it more like a farm style truck or is it more like a pro mod or pro stock truck?
The trucks is pretty pro mod. Like they're a highly built truck. You know, usually the guys build a truck and they last the whole year, if not 2 years or 3 years. You know, the trucks are usually pretty built.
Yeah,
they're a good part of the show, though. I mean, our truck drivers, I'll give them, they're crazy. Like I wouldn't want to do what they do. Like they run the trucks hard every time they're out, no matter what.
Well, you got to feel a little more comfortable that you're not inside that building while they're running now. Because I remember the last couple of years, you was like, man, the trucks are coming out here. What are we going to do?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was nervous when they were, you know what I mean? Because we had the grandstands at the one end, and we protected it as much as we could with barrier wall and everything. But I'm like, man, I just don't want one of those trucks to get going crazy and go over the end of this wall. So.
Not at all, because like you said, they are crazy, and I don't know if it's my truck's harder than yours or my truck's faster than yours, but they want to hit as fast and as hard as they can. I just don't know. That's why I don't run trucks.
Yeah, the craziest thing in our area, a lot of the guys are buddies, like, and they go just as hard at each other, like, and then get out shaking hands afterwards and hugging. I'm like, man, like you guys were just trying to kill each other. Like, I mean, they go at each other just as hard.
Yeah, everybody wants to bet $1 on the trucks. And I'm like, no, I don't know who's with who or what's with what because they all want to kill each other every time. I'm not betting on that. But no, that's always a fun class to watch up there because, like you said, they are crazy, and you let them build the trucks to drive them, and they do. So that's good up there.
Mm-hmm.
Now my most favorite class of the whole weekend that you're having is the Most Wanted Fine Arts class. I absolutely love this class. I love watching it. Just the diversity of the cars and the minivans and a Dodge Durango all out there at one time. It's unbelievable.
See, and we haven't had that class, so we're trying to get people to sort of bite into it and see what it really is. But it's really popular all over everywhere right now, so that's why we decided to do it. Hoping that we can get people to really realize that, I mean, it's just more or less like a class for fun, what Derbian should be, you know, and we are paying good money. I mean, it's paying, we're paying $2,000 for that class, you know, as long as it fills up and everything. But I mean, that class is paying $2,000, $800, $500, $250, and then $200 for the Mad Dog. So it's paying good money. Hopefully we can get people to.
That's awesome. I agree with you. I think that class is what people want to see. Derby people, maybe not so much, but people just locally that would come and watch your show, that's the class they want to see. They want to watch two cars hit back to back and their trunk lids pop open. You know, and that's what's entertaining to me. I've been across the country, and what I love about it, there's 10 rules to it. There's no straying from it. And they're all built the same. And it's just an amazing event. I love the Most Wanted Fine Arts class. And what's sad to say is I get my butt kicked every time I run that class. Every time I run it, I get my butt kicked. It's crazy. But no, we'll have to get the word out about that because that's a great class to go. Even if you was just coming to watch and you're a Derby guy, you know, go out and buy you a couple $100 whatever, beat the windows out of it and come Derby it. You know.
Yeah. Yep. So, and I'm trying to message a bunch of the local guys that used to Derby and say, hey man, this is what you used to like to do. Just, you know, take 2 nights, build the car with a couple buddies and come crash it. And a few of them have acted like they're interested. So hopefully we can get some.
Yeah, it's such a fun class because, like, you don't even if you put a fuel cell in it, that's probably the hardest thing you got to take out to junk it because you can't put tires on it. You know you can't. You can't even weld the bumpers on these things. It's just so much fun. It really is. And then you go from a Most Wanted class to a 6,000-pound class. Now explain that to me. What is the 6,000-pound class, Brandon?
We went with that class a couple years ago. It was actually Billy's idea. It's actually a good idea because it sort of levels it. Basically, when you roll up to inspection for the 6,000 pound class, the only thing you can't have is like, you can't be over 6,000 pounds and you can't be a fully well-edged slam to the ground car. We do have height restrictions for the back of the car and stuff like that. But besides that, as long as your safety stuff checks out and you weigh 6,000 pounds or less, you're in. I mean, it's been a lot of cars have been like kicker cars or mild weld cars that add to them and then they come and run. And it's a pretty good class, really.
Yeah, it's a great class to run because they all eat crazy pills too. Now, how do you weigh them? Do they have weights there? Do you guys bring in your own scales? How do you guys weigh them?
Yeah, we bring scales. You know, we bring scales, and then when you come up, you just got to pull your car up on the scales. And I believe we've been running it for a couple of years, and there's been one guy that's weighed 6,000 pounds on the nose. That was Dunk out of Michigan. He weighed 6,000 pounds on the nose. I think he was the only guy. There's been a few guys that are, you know, because when they scale them, they probably go to a scrapyard or something by them. And there's been a few guys that are 20 or 30 pounds over and they go change tires and then they're under. But we're pretty stringent on you got to be 6,000 pounds or under, you know.
And you was telling me that story about Donk and stuff. And you said that he actually put his roof sign inside the car because he didn't have time to bolt it on.
Yeah, because I mean, Dunk's a really good guy, and he came up. He's like, man, I put my roof sign in there. He's like, I'm gonna bolt it on afterwards, but he's like, I didn't want to leave it back there. He's like, I put it in the car that way the weight was official. He's like, I don't want to be accused of adding anything after I weighed in because he's like, I think it's gonna be really close. And he got on there and it was 6,000 pounds. I was like, wow, that's crazy, like to be that close, you know. But
that's insane. And you know, everybody talks about a unified rule system, unify this, unify that. In my opinion, the 6,000 pound class, or even if you did an 8,000 or whatever, that's the only way to unify it because I don't care what you do to your car. It's got to weigh this. So you build it how you want, and I'll tell you how to fix it when you get here. Not that you got to cut this or that. You just got to lose 40 pounds real quick, buddy.
Yeah, Billy and I have actually talked about it a lot before because, like, even for the no protector, you could try to do a weight system, you know, and it would be crazy at first, but once you got it down, I think it could possibly work. You know, say no protector car, you got to weigh 4,800 or 5,000 or less to run. You know, and then basically we check all your safety stuff. You would get guys that would do some crazy stuff, but then you'd get guys that just do their basic that they're still used to and have a good cage in it and good everything else, you know, and make the car hold up, you know.
Right.
Because you can do a lot to make, let's say, a Ford hold up with, you know, a stick or two, a 2x2 compared to just laying well, you know what I mean? You could do a lot of work with 40 foot of 2x2 on a Ford Crown Vic, I think. But
Yes, absolutely. And to be honest with you, and like, once again, this is just my opinion. That's the only way to unify a rule across the country. You know, everybody wants it. Well, that's the easiest way to do it. You know, that's the easiest way to do it because, like you said, it's hard to get one guy to officiate the way you do and that guy the way he does and this and that. Well, everybody can read numbers.
Yeah. Yep. Everybody can read numbers, and if your scales are set and everything's good, they don't lie. You know, they don't lie.
Right. No, I love that class. It's a lot of fun to see what people do different to make their cars harder, you know, and man, they hit too. I mean, it's crazy. But then you guys got an engine swap with kickers. Explain that to me.
Yeah. So we started doing that class a couple years ago. I mean, it's a basic class. You can build a car pretty quick. A lot of our shows you can do any year with it. Also, some shows we restrict to 80s and newer, but some you can do any year. But you can have a front cradle. You're allowed to weld your suspension on and stuff like that. You are allowed 03 and up Vics. And then you're just allowed a kicker from the cage to behind the A-arms. And it's actually a pretty wild class. My son ran it last year. We built a car for it, and it was the first full-size car we built in a long time, and it was actually fun because it wasn't a crazy build, but he ran it a couple times all summer and had fun with it. And I mean, the car still bends. You still got to figure out how to work it. You gotta build it to flip. It's not built to stay straight in the back. And I think it's a really fun class. I think it's a class that could keep building. A lot of the local guys in our area really like it. But
Well,
I
you
think
said,
last year.
go ahead.
Go ahead. Last year at the summit, it filled. Sorry. Last year
Go
at the
ahead.
summit, it did fill. I mean, we had a bunch of New York guys come and run. I'm hoping they sign up to come back to Norwalk because the New York guys usually did come to Norwalk when we ran it there. So, but it's a good class.
Yeah, no, I love it. And I think it's like, now your hump plate rule for that class, what are you allowed for that?
No hump plates.
No hump plates. See, that's what I like, because it's going to make you think about, like you said, they're not built to be hard in the back, for one. And then you're going to have to learn how to fix it after the Derby. You know, that's very educational. Some of these guys that are running these Derbies has never had to do that, you know, and I love that. I love it because you give them enough to use in the front, but.
Yeah, I do have a correction. My bad, Fatty. We did. So last year and the year before it had no hump plates. This year we let them have a 4x6 hump plate. Has to be one piece of 4x6. We did that. We did that because there's some local shows around us that we were trying to sort of get closer to help drivers. A lot of drivers are saying, "Hey, man, we want to come to your show, but these guys allow this and you don't." So we changed a few things in that class just to try to help out a lot of the drivers, local drivers.
Right. No, that's going to be a fun class, and I seen your boy run a couple of times. I mean, you can whale people with this thing. So
you can.
It's a fun class to watch. So that's 11 classes in 3 days up there at Norwalk, and I mean, we are excited to be up there. The team events are just crazy. I'll be honest with you, I don't think there was a bad heat, even with your one and dones last year. The 8,000 pound class, the V8 stock, all that. Them are all great heats, and I'm really excited for the 3-man V8 stock. Like I might have to get me something together for that one.
Yeah, I think that'll be a good one because there's a lot of guys in that class that run locally, man, and they jump cars every time they're out. I mean, they don't care, they just go, and that's what's fun about that class. So.
Now, can I run like a 10-bolt Chevy underneath a Ford with a 513 gear, or do I got to run the 8.8 with a, how's that work?
No, you got to have factory run per that car.
No kidding. Okay, I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Brandon, I appreciate you coming on and talking about this. Remember, folks, this is a Memorial Day weekend, 2025, Norwalk, Ohio, Maple City Madness. It's going to be off the chain. TrackShotLive is going to be there. The teams, we're going to give you guys a bunch of behind-the-scenes stuff before we get there. So, yeah, we are excited for this show.
Yep, and if anybody wants to check it out on our website at fairderby.com, you can get on there, and the full agenda's on there of how we're going to do Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. All of that stuff's on there. Friday we're only doing 3 classes, but we're going to do 3 classes, then try to do like a pit party with some fireworks. We're getting some fireworks. So we're going to try to do that, and we're trying to do that Friday night, a light night. We'll be doing inspections for the whole day. People will start the team car inspections. We'll be doing that night, and then the most wanted fine art and stuff like that. But we're doing that to try to have a cheaper night for the community. Like the grandstands that night will be cheap to try to get the local crowd in, because a lot of the big derbies you go to, they don't really draw the local crowd, that come to the fairs when they go to the fairs.
Absolutely.
So we're going to try to do that to bring the local crowd there to where they can see it and be like, man, we need to come tomorrow, and then the next day. So.
Yep, absolutely. No, like I said, we're pumped. It's a great event. And folks, if you don't understand, Brandon, this isn't a new event. Brandon and them's been putting this event on for 5 years, Brandon, 6 years, something like that.
I think first year I think was 2019, and then we had to cancel it because COVID the next year. So and then I think we had it 2 years at Norwalk, the Days of Reckoning, and then we moved it to Summit, and we had it a couple years there, and then now we're moving it back to Norwalk. So
right, yeah,
and Norwalk facility is set up for Derbian. I think we got around 200 camp spots there. So
Yeah, it's one of my favorite places to go watch a derby. Even 20 years ago, before I started running up north, we all went to Norwalk to watch the cleanup show. It was that, you know.
yeah,
Um,
yep.
Now, yeah, I am pumped about it, dude. Like you said, 200 camp spots, hookups, and all that good stuff. Is that how that works, or?
Yeah, yep. 200 camping spots. You can, they have water and electric. They all have water and electric. The campers are $50 a night, or we do 125 for the whole event. The 125
Nice.
will get you Thursday through Sunday. So.
And where can they register for all this stuff at, Brandon? If they want to enter and all that, where can they go?
Right on fairderby.com. You can get on there and you click on Maple City Madness and you go through and it'll show you, you can actually print out the agenda, the rules, you can sign up, you can do your camping and everything right on the website. It'll take you right to a site and you can, yep.
Yeah, perfect. That's perfect. And folks, if you guys want to do a little bit of research about the show, go to All For Him Racing. He's been to most of them. Like Brandon says, they're called Days of Reckoning and the Summit because they've been moved a couple of times to different facilities. Great shows to watch. This year was it was crazy. But yeah, take a peek at it and check it out. And hopefully you guys come out and support us a little bit. I'll be there. Mike Tix will be there. The whole Track Shot, Uncle Bill, everybody's coming in for this event. We're excited. So Brandon, thank you for your time, buddy. I appreciate it.
Alrighty. Thank you, man.
All right, buddy. Thanks.